I've been going to Chile a lot since '89, so it's been a really interesting progression for me to see how the wines have evolved. What was going on in '89 was that there was still a lot of really traditional wine. By the '90s, people had gotten a huge amount of investment coming in and a huge amount of replanting. And one of the things that got replanted a lot was Sauvignon Blanc. Most of the expansion was way out on the coast. The thing that always gets me coming back to Chile is the seafood. At the Mercado Central, a lot of the shellfish and seafood comes into Santiago, and you could get completely wild things there. Abalone, pico roco, things you don't see here very often, a lot of sea urchin. So there's this Humboldt current that comes up from the south of the Pacific Ocean, from the Antarctic area, and it runs all along the coast of Chile. And that's why you have great seafood. And that's also why this area is so good for Sauvignon Blanc. What is interesting is that the temperature of the water, when it passes Paradones and when it passes San Antonio, is about 52 degrees. So it's cold, it creates a chilling effect and keeps the wines fresh. So the closer you are to the ocean, and some of these vineyards are really like 2.5 miles from the ocean, you're getting this coastal mist and you're getting a real chill from the ocean. Chile has the coastal range, it has the Central Valley, and has the Andes. So the coastal range is older than the Andes. And the coastal range has been degrading for a while. And so that's where they're growing Sauvignon Blanc, in those coastal sands. We're gonna start down here in Colchagua and work our way up to San Antonio and Leyda. And then we're gonna end in Limarí, which is up at the edge of the Atacama Desert. Having gone there for so long, I went back and read some of the stories I was writing in the early 90s about how much potential there seemed to be in the development of terroir-specific wines in Chile, and I still believe that. But the challenge is that everyone wants to make Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, and nobody's willing to just say, I'm a specialist in Sauvignon Blanc, and I'm gonna make the best damn Sauvignon Blanc I can. I've tasted thrilling Sauvignon Blanc in Casablanca, in San Antonio, in Leyda, and people don't really think about being thrilled by Sauvignon Blanc. So I thought it'd be really fun to bring these wines here, bring people who I respect here to taste them and discuss them. So what struck you about this wine?
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of Sauvignon Blanc to begin with, and I kind of like this one in particular because it kind of like hits all the marks that you expect from the Sauvignon Blanc. You get the grassiness, you get the lemony, you get all the citrus on it, but it's quite mineral. The acidity is very bright, so I think it was lovely.
Ignacio Recabarren, who is probably the foremost Sauvignon Blanc winemaker in Chile, I would say. He developed this vineyard for Concha Toro, but what he specializes in is Sauvignon Blanc, so his own wine is Sauvignon Blanc. In 2022, you have a warmer vintage. In 2021, you've got this really cold vintage.
The city was like very more apparent, and it kind of made it like a little more bright of a wine while still being more subdued fruit to it. You got a little bit of like the grass into that, but like very faint.
For me, kind of like it jumped off as like a mix of like this clean, crisp lemon lime, and in the background it has this like almost like a dried gooseberry.
I found this to be the simplest of the wines, but very refreshing. I don't know if you got this kind of grapefruity character.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm interpreting as this gooseberry. It's something a little bit like riper, maybe a little bit sweeter compared to like that lemon lime attack at the front.
What I like about this wine is how versatile can Sauvignon Blanc be. I really love that they macerate, do a maceration, let's say, with the yeast. That brings up a little bit more texture.
So being from Chile, what would you pair with this wine?
That is called chupe de jaiba. It's a
What is
crab
that?
cake.
I do think that anyone who's not been to Chile has got to go to Chile if you like seafood, because
Yeah, absolutely.
it is the most insanely great seafood country in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Actually, a lot of things I really like about this wine. It sort of screams Sauvignon Blanc, and actually I think this is the wine that has probably the most residual sugar. And if I looked
It
at
does,
just
I
at the
think,
text sheet,
yeah.
I probably said, oh, I'm not going to like that. But I thought that the sweetness sort of pushed the finish. This is a wine that somebody could say, yeah, they want Sauvignon Blanc, they're not going to be disappointed. But I also could see it working at the table across a lot of different dishes, and not just seafood, actually. I thought the sage, a kind of an oily herb, could really complement it. And then the creaminess of, I guess, any dish in milk as well, I thought was balanced.
So I don't think of fruit and all that when I think of this. I think of music. The song that literally came to mind because I smell and then a song comes up. Let's Dance came up.
David Bowie.
Yeah. And I thought unique, sexy, and stands out, which is what that song means to me. So I just really enjoyed it, and I paired with the quiche.
The Casa Marín I found to be kind of clam brothy and poblano peppers and pineapple mint and a generous mouth and, you know, all of like that. He said athletic, I say generous. It's the same kind of like supple strength, you know, it almost has its own, you know, Dance Theater of Harlem thing going on, you know what I'm saying? It has that movement, it has that strength of character, and it's a great, great food wine.
I find this wine completely fascinating.
Yeah.
8 to me had a little bit more of that expected greener quality that we're all looking for Sauvignon Blanc. It reads very typical, I guess you would say that's the word. So typical in terms of these like lighter, elegant styles of Sauvignon Blanc. To me, this fits that category very clearly. It's mineral driven. There's also this really delicious, lush green quality to the wine.
So this vineyard is probably the most interesting vineyard that I know about in Chile. There's a mountain between it and the sea. And the mountainside on the seaside is a rainforest because the Humboldt current's coming up and there's a current from Peru coming down, warm current coming down, battling and creating all this humidity that's creating this rainforest right there at the edge of the desert. So it's at the edge of the Atacama Desert. It's a piece of the seafloor that's come up on the inside of this mountain.
You're talking geology and it feels very similar to Saint-Brie, right? Like
Yeah.
there's clear kind of parallels to what's happening over in Chile in here.
Mhm.
I really love that kind of oiliness on the nose. It's really energetic coming off of the nose, and then once it hits your palate, it's like a wallop. It's really great, but that's someone who like prefers super concentrated flavors and like really kind of like a wilder sensibility.
Yeah.
I like a little bit of fuzz.
This is extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is definitely an extreme wine.
It's delicious.
Cool.
It was really interesting to me to think about how so much investment on the far coast of Chile has gone to Sauvignon Blanc. It's been several decades, and the variety continues to outperform others that were planted there. So it's pretty clear to me that the terroir of Chile's far coast speaks through Sauvignon Blanc.